Hey guys, welcome to the beREAL podcast with David and
Sherrie.
Today we are excited to be with you, but I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you that have been watching, commenting, giving us feedback, and just letting us know that you value the content that we've been putting out. After all, that's our goal, is to bring value to the lives of people, whether you're married or not, or just in ministry. It's our goal to help people grow. And so if that's you, keep on giving the feedback. That'll continuously give us motivation to do what we do. So I want to thank you guys for that.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, let's jump into this. We're excited for today's podcast. I wanted you to know that we have been paying attention to the details, one of which we've noticed that we've received a lot of viewership when it comes to marriage. And the last time we spoke on marriage, it was about the expectations of marriage. Mm-hmm. So that's actually what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about marriage in general. And so my wife and I, we love marriage, right, babe?
Yes.
We love marriage. In fact, we own a business that is a wedding chapel because we just love marriage so much that we have to see it every single day.
That's not why. That's probably not why we opened the wedding chapel. It's been in the family, but that's not why we have a wedding chapel. But we do. We love marriage. I feel like God has given us an anointing to minister to marriages. A lot of married couples will call us when they're going through it. And we actually, our hearts are just to see married couples live and thrive in healthy, strong marriages. And if we can help in some way, I feel like it draws us. So we love married couples. We love the covenant of marriage between a man and a woman. And so that's what we wanted to talk about today, because it's our sweet spot, so.
It is. And one thing I remember, I don't just remember the successes, I remember all of the struggles. And I think that's what I want you guys to know. My wife and I, the reason why we're as successful as we are is because we just stuck it out. We went through a lot in our marriage, a lot of great things, a lot of things that really had to sharpen us as well. So we didn't take it as negative. We've learned to see that God is even in the smallest of details, and it's helped us to become who we are today. So we're not perfect. We go through things just like everybody else. It really is just about your response on it, and if you can learn from it. And so we want to share on the other side of learning from it, and then hopefully help you to not have to go through the same things that we went through.
Right, or to stick it through, because we've seen couples get married and not last, or get married and just stay married because they're married and without it being strong and healthy. And so that's what we want to talk about today, is what keeps a marriage strong, healthy, passionate,
With being
spicy.
Yes. Being involved in either marriage, some form or fashion, whether it's in church or if it's outside of it in our chapel. My wife and I, we've noticed that it seems like people are getting married a lot later on in life.
Yeah.
And it seems like even beyond that, maybe they're not staying married very long. Mm-hmm. And so we want to talk today about the practical things you can do to keep things at its best.
Yeah.
And did you say the word spicy?
I sure did.
You know what? That's a wonderful word for marriage.
Spicy.
There's nothing wrong with a little spice.
What
Can
does
I
that
get an
mean?
amen from you?
What does that mean? What's a spicy marriage?
Well, if I go into my version of spicy, we might hear some backlash from it because it might be a little X-rated there. But I'm gonna try to keep this PG. And
this is Be Real with David and Sherrie. If you know,
how real do you guys want me to be?
If you know us, we're very, when we're in the confines and covenant of marriage, we're very not unfiltered.
Yeah.
But that's what keeps our marriage the way it is. We are very X-rated with one another, and my kids know it. We don't hide it, and they're always like, but that's part of it.
I have to tell you guys, coming from me as the husband of this relationship and marriage, I've never stopped looking at my wife any different than I ever have. Mm-hmm. Since the day that I first laid eyes on her and I was smitten, I never wanted that to be a thing of the past. I never wanted to be like, well, remember when I used to look at you that way? I have intentionally been doing some things because I just feel like, 40, 50 years, 60 years of being married. Okay, I know I'm shooting high. We're pretty young still. But just saying that I really feel like, we can have the best marriage, and it's really just up to us. What we have is really going to be dependent upon what we invest in
Well,
it.
you said intentional. So I think in a marriage, drifting apart is always unintentional.
That's true.
Because who gets married and says, I want to drift away, you know? So drifting apart is unintentional, but having a healthy, strong marriage is intentional. You
so
have to be intentional with having a strong marriage. Otherwise you will drift apart.
Yeah, you don't want things to get boring. Let me talk a little bit about that, about boring. You're not a boring person. I don't feel like I'm a boring person, but let me tell you a little bit about my wife. Since day one, I've noticed that she is very fun, but gets bored very easily. And so let me give you just a couple examples. Is that okay? I'm not going to make you look
Give
bad
me
either.
a couple examples. Let
Okay.
me,
Okay. Number one, if I'm watching a movie, not in a theater, if I'm at home in the comfort of our living room watching a movie, I'm thinking, this is great. We're having a great time. She gets up. I'm thinking she's using the restroom. She never comes back. And I'm like, hey,
not if we're on a date, not if it's like intentional.
I know.
If we're just randomly watching a movie.
Who wants to
I don't-
watch a movie
I
by
don't-
themselves? Guys, I mean,
You do, because you don't even notice when I get up.
Yeah, I know how to keep you there, though. Some nice popcorn with some hot butter.
That's
on top.
true.
I know what
so
you
I
like.
do. I do get bored easily.
Yeah,
I do.
But how about this? Let me take it further. I recollect taking you to the bowling alley, and then you come to me midway and say, "Oh, I'm done now."
Yes, that's true.
And I'm like, "Man, I want to play 3 games or something." I'm competitive, and she's just like, "Yeah, I'm through. This was fun, but I'm done." Third frame. Third frame.
That's true. I do get bored easily, but I'm not bored of you.
Yeah, and see,
I'm not bored of you.
That's actually why I brought it up. Okay. I have to admit, when we were first dating, I was a little worried. Man, what she gets bored of me? I mean, it's not like I'm the most exciting person in the world, but I'm not boring though. And it's been 21 years now. I'm blessed to say that, you haven't gotten bored. You have,
No.
you haven't walked out of my life. You keep choosing to come back, and that's always wonderful.
Well, you keep me laughing. We have plenty of fun. We're just, we are intentional with that. So definitely not bored. Marriage is so fun. But okay, let's just go on. I feel like pursuit never has to stop. It cannot stop.
Yes.
I preached on Sunday and I talked about chasing God, and I said something, and it wasn't even part of my notes, but I just said, when you don't pursue or chase God, it's like being married and you stop dating.
Wow.
So just because you said I do doesn't mean that was the culmination of your relationship. Like we're married now. Let's just now build a family and just build life. That's just how it comes. You have to pursue still.
It's almost like assuming that your life is going to work itself out on its own. Like, oh, if I'm just a good person, I have great intentions, I think things will just work itself out. And we figured out life doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
We literally have to realize that we decide how this is going to go. If it's going to go south, or if this thing's going to shoot up and to the right. And I think that's the goal. You don't want to go into the next year feeling like you took a few steps back, in the area of marriage. I think, everybody shoots for the best, I think, but not everybody is intentional with that.
Yeah, so you have to pursue. You have to pursue your spouse. Husbands, you have to pursue your wife. You have to, and you have to pursue your husband. Like, I feel like it's like once you said I do, once they said yes, you feel like the pursuit stops because you got them. What does that look like? So in pursuing,
I have to tell you, in pursuing, in a practical sense for you and I, it has always been with the intention of we should never stop dating.
yeah,
Listen, when you change the title from girlfriend to wife, that doesn't mean you stop dating.
yeah,
Because we think girlfriend dating,
right.
wife, it changes. It doesn't change. And so
Wife, mom, cleanup person,
yeah,
person
the
that holds it down.
responsibilities will be added.
Responsibilities, yeah.
They'll be added, but the fun part of it, you can't remove it out, because
Yeah.
then if you see your marriage as a job, then it's going to make you feel like how you go to your job, where it starts off fun and then you get tired. You know, I don't want to get tired with what we do. And I think the fun part is thinking, well, I worked all day. I can't wait to get home so we can date.
They can
And you know
date,
what?
yeah.
That
And
doesn't,
dates don't have to be fancy,
yeah.
because a lot of times we're so busy that we talk about it all the time. We probably talked about it in our podcast. But sometimes dates are a meal in our car in front of our park across the
Yeah,
street,
that's
because we
practical.
have time just to sit and talk to each other, or even to watch a show together, literally in our car and having Taco Bell. It's just, you find time to date. You pull away from the busyness of life, pull away from the kids, and just date one another and pursue one another. And pursuit can also look like surprising her with her favorite candy, chocolate, and you come home. Or what do I say? I think we didn't always have this right, because we were married 21 years.
Yes.
You used to, when we were dating, if I had a headache or if I felt sick, what would you do? You would end up at my front door with what in your hand?
I'd end up at your front door with mint and chip ice cream.
Yes, because you knew that made me feel better when I was sick.
To me, some of the way that you guys look at like duct tape, how it fixes everything, I looked at mint and chip ice cream, because it wasn't just about the headache. It wasn't just about like having a bad day. It was also when you were upset at me.
That kind of happened a lot.
Let's just say she had enough mint and chip ice cream to make milkshakes and everything else. But you know, I just remember doing that. But I
Sometimes he's corny. She had enough milk.
listen.
Yeah. Okay.
This is just me. I'm just gonna be me. If you guys think I'm corny,
Yeah, he's
hey,
corny.
all right.
But
I
no,
am.
mention ice cream, that kind of got me. So there was a time, you know, going through life, and I remember several times I'm like, "Where's my ice cream?" Like, you don't do that anymore. So when we say to do this, we hadn't always done this. There's always times that we got busy, or kids, raising kids, and I would always remind him, remember what got me. But I'd have to do that same thing with you, you know. So it's a two-way street. Is remembering what to do to pursue your spouse. That's going to keep your marriage strong,
Yeah.
healthy, and desiring one another throughout the rest of the time that you're married, which is while you're here on earth.
Yeah.
So also, be a student,
Yeah.
be a learner, know your spouse. We want to say this, that I'm not the same person I was 21 years ago. You are not the same person you were 21 years ago. So if we stopped understanding the growth of that person, we will stop knowing how to be intentional.
That's true.
Because mint chip ice cream don't answer everything anymore.
That's true. That's true.
Right?
And I think, you know, when you look at life, you know that there's not too many things or guarantees in life, but the one thing that I have noticed, the guarantee is that change is inevitable.
Yeah, we're going to change.
So if change is inevitable for me and for you, that means I got to be on my game to pay attention to the details, because you notice how life changes you, you know,
Yeah.
Tragedy,
Yeah.
trauma, the successes, you know, all of the in-betweens, the promotions, everything, you know, kids, you know,
Kids change you. Yes.
kids change you. It changes you quite a bit, because you know now the stress level is there. You know, there's just a lot of things that you could point out to it, but the point is to pay attention to the detail, because if you are very much in the middle of that, then you're gonna not just know how they're changing. You're gonna change at the same time with them. You know, and I think that's a benefit, is that we're growing together.
Yeah.
So if you're growing, I'm growing.
Right.
You know, and I'm not out of touch with who you are.
Yeah.
That helps me to be able to be who you need me to be for you.
Right.
And that's what I want to do. I want to bring value. And one of the things that I've said so many times, I've even said it in past episodes, is that I want to bring value. And I don't know if I can bring value the way that you need me to if I am totally out of touch.
Yeah, with who I'm
you are.
becoming, who I have become, because of you know, and for me to understand, as well as you being a husband, a father, and us going through seasons, us getting older, is understanding how are we growing together? How do we get to know one another? What makes us, what irks us, right? What pushes buttons? If we don't, if you don't learn that about each other, we'll push buttons all day.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
and then not be intentional to not do that. So gotta be a student and really know how your spouse or your significant other is growing so that you can grow with them.
Absolutely. I think the times that I've surprised you by paying attention to like the little details, I think really meant a lot to you.
Oh yeah.
And you know, because I can default back to what I already know, and like you said, the whole mint and chip thing. Okay, how about now? You know, like, are you paying attention to what I've been talking about
Let's
lately?
talk about how you would get me flowers.
Oh gosh. Okay,
That
so
worked in the beginning. And so you defaulted to get that for me every single either Valentine's Day or anniversary. And, and I just be like,
so there came a
I
point
don't
to
want to
where,
hurt you, but I don't like flowers too much.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
You gotta be a student. You gotta know.
I think maybe you like flowers on the table here and there, you know, just to see it, but like,
Yeah.
you know, that no longer
It's almost
became
a cop out gift
it's what you default to when you just
yes.
struggle.
To know what to get.
I know there's two sides to that coin because communication's key too, in terms of expressing like what you're into now and what
Yes.
you want.
But us ladies, usually, oh, this is me. I will always give him a list. This is what I want you to get me. I will communicate throughout the year. Oh, this looks nice. This, this is cute. I would love this. And so in my mind, I'm expecting him, if I said this in November, come February, you should remember what I said in November. Oh, this looks cute. And so that to me is like, wow, he's thoughtful.
Yeah, you gotta own up sometimes. But when the guy has forgetful memory and asks again, can you remind me the things? And then when you don't tell me,
So that's what
then you struggle.
notepads are for, to write it
There
down.
you go. So there's things
That's a
that you
key right there,
there's
man.
things that you can do even
Yes.
if you have a little bit of resistance on the other side, because you're definitely not a mind reader. Remember that.
Right. And
So
we expect that a little bit. So men, we're just going to put a sub point in there. Take your notepad out. Anytime that your wife says, this is a cute purse, or you're walking down somewhere, oh, I would love that, write it down. Because guess what? She's giving you ideas for the gift that she wants for your anniversary.
man, and it
That's
always
free right there.
yeah, these are key things, guys. This will save you from about 25% of your arguments in terms of details.
But
You
I
know,
will admit, I'm also like that way. I will get you random things because you will actually say, "Oh, I would want this," but in my mind, I'm like, "That is so expensive. That's not even valid to be a Father's Day gift." But men don't ask for much, so
there's a
and I'll get him
price
some random shoes that he's like, "Oh, great! These are like dad shoes."
there's a price to pay to be great, you know, and I want to be a great griller. So a lot of times I'll tell her like, "Oh, this is what I need." So if you guys do things on a high level, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. Anyway, I'm not bougie or anything. I just, you know, I need the right tools.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So next, we got Troy back there, amening him. He's saying it for the men.
I'm
That
trying
was
to
free
help.
for you.
I'm trying to help you, men. Because
Yes.
listen, do you
There we go.
want Fisher Price tools, or do you want do you want tools that are from the hardware store? You know, and so I'm just saying, you know, that's how we get our job done,
Right.
right?
Okay. So one thing that we do, and it might sound, oh, that's weird or corny. We talk about when we first fell in love. We talk about it all the time. I'll be like, why'd you fall in love with me? Tell me again.
That's
We
easy.
do. We really do. And I would just want to say this. You guys might think, well, that's not really deep. But sometimes you have to remind yourself why you fell in love. I'm telling you, anytime that you talk about, oh, this back in the day, do you remember when you would, do this or to do that, or I fell in love with you because of this? Every woman, even every man, wants to hear why you love me. Why did you fall in love with me? So do that. Talk about why you fell in love. Talk about what you like about each other. Like I always say, I just love your shoulders, and that there's certain
She
things.
started loving my shoulders, but now she loves my hands because of the massage that it can produce at the end of the evening.
Right. But I mean, we talk about that. We talk about what it is that why am I attracted to you? Right.
Yeah, and so let me tell you. Okay, so let me tell you what I think. When I first saw you, and laid eyes on you, I just thought you were fine, like with a O in there,
Oh, fine.
fine.
My kids are
Okay,
like, what does that mean?
I was like, holy moly, who is this girl? And so there was nothing spiritual about it. I was just
Yeah, you
smitten.
loved me
I
already.
was just smitten right there. And then I think with watching you in your element, I was like, man, this is a dream come true because it's like having both, and it's very rare that you could find both guys.
What's both?
Both is like
What?
you have the beauty, but you also are as beautiful in terms of
Loving
loving
God.
Jesus
Yeah.
and like being connected with that side of you, just being in tune with the Spirit. The pursuit that you had after Christ, you weren't thirsty. You were that type of
I was
person.
thirsty for Jesus.
You were only thirsty for Jesus. And so I'm like, man, I could have both here, and I just saw the potential. And
Yeah.
then from there, I think it just kind of I don't know, it kind of just went from that place and built from there. And I think, that's why in 2 weeks after meeting you, I was like, I
I
just
gotta
want
tell
you
you
to know,
something.
I just got to tell you something, girl. I was like, I sat her.
Okay, he's not joking.
She was driving me from youth group, and by the way, she was my youth leader. Yes, thank you, fellas. That was my youth leader. All right. Anyway,
God.
and then we were in the car. She was
So
just
proud of
driving
that.
me home, and then I was like, all right, I need to tell you something, girl.
Right. He got all serious.
Look, this is how it is. This is how I feel.
And he was a lot more high pitched than this because this was, he was
Yeah.
only 16.
And I was like, hey,
Stop.
girl. I told her, I just want you to know I love you.
He did.
And so I don't
So
recommend
dumb.
that. Okay, if you guys don't want to move too quickly, maybe you shouldn't say
We
that.
didn't move too quickly. I just thought, okay, you little boy,
We weren't even
it's
dating or
fine.
anything. I
No, we
just was
weren't.
like random.
But
Anyway,
I appreciated the pursuit because he did. He pursued me for the next 2 years. He remained loving me. But the thing I loved about you though, you did have a pure heart in it, and you never failed to show me or appreciate who I was in God, and you respected that. So
it takes. By the way, it takes. So I don't always recommend doing it the way that I did it, but also at the same time, I actually do because it took me time to realize that you are everything that I've ever wanted in a woman, and it took years for me to see that because it's not like we connected right away. Oh, we're dating now. No, you went to Bible college for 2 years, okay, and so I still had the opportunity to see you, and I really recommend that to whether and I'm not just speaking to the guys, even you ladies, know this that. You should take your time to really get to know the person that you're trying to pursue because at some point you may discover not just the person that they want you to think they are, who you think they are, you will discover who they really are. And it's that person. If you can still connect in that way and say, I still feel the same way that I feel about them, even now knowing who they truly are, then you found the right one.
yeah, yeah. So what else?
All right.
I think dreaming together. You have to dream. You tend to forget to dream once you get in your routine of life, especially being married for several years. You kind of get into just the flow of daily grind, and you don't dream together.
Yeah.
Talk future, talk vision.
When you're working equally together. You have goals, you have dreams, but you work so hard for the dream, you forget to continue to dream. Dreaming is not a destination. Dreaming is a journey that you will do for the entirety of your marriage, because you're always understanding where I am now is not where I'm going to be tomorrow or a year from now. And so you're always dreaming. And that's what is like the fuel to your vehicle to continue to keep going in that direction. And I think you stop dreaming, you stop having the motivation, you stop having, any drive.
Well, it gives you a target to shoot for, but it's not just dreaming on your own. It's saying, hey, babe, like what do you want to do? Like, where do you see us in the next 5 years? What's on your heart?
It's like vision.
Yeah, and it's coming together and say, where would you like to visit? Right? We talk about let's just get a passport
Yeah.
just in preparation by faith that we're going to go out of the country together. We've never been out of the country together. So
We were just
that's
talking about
part of dreaming.
Yeah.
Is saying, you know what? Let's do this by faith and just believe that one day we're going to go to the Philippines or we're going to go to Israel. We want to go to Israel.
What did I tell you the other day? And then you thought it was weird that I said it. You're like, didn't even like, what are you talking about? You thought it was strange.
don't
And I was like,
remember.
girl, I want to take
Girl.
you where? I want
To
to take
the
you.
ends of the earth.
And you were like, that's what scares me.
But that's dreaming. That is definitely dreaming. And those things kind of, you know what that does though? It relieves stress. It makes you stop and think, we're busy people, but if we can just sit and dream together, like you are my favorite travel buddy. Like we just love.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you to say.
You're welcome. We love to just go out and just, I mean, we've loved, traveling with the kids. We've enjoyed that. But there's just times that we just love going on our own, and we are our favorite travel buddies. We don't, we love the same things. We love to do the same things, even if that's grabbing junk food and chilling in the hotel and just not thinking about work, anything, and just really just that's vacation for us. Or sitting on the beach. I need some water right now.
And let me share the other side to that so that you guys, I don't want to paint a picture like, oh, everything's just, petunias and roses. Listen, I had to be intentional with that because there are differences.
Yeah.
Like we don't like the same types of movies.
Right.
Not to begin with, but there's lots of things that I realized what you like. I didn't want to have just a preference in everything.
Yeah.
Like I have a preference in this and preference in that. And what happens is we can't do anything
We
together
do
because
separate
of it.
things.
So,
That's good.
So like what I cared more about is like us being together. Because at the end of the day, I love quality time.
So he'll watch chick flicks and I'll watch like Marvel movies or
Yes, you will, which is so shocking. I'm so
we
grateful
do that
for that.
to be intentional that is, I mean, we weren't even going to talk about that, but do what the other person likes to do, even if you don't like to do it.
Ooh,
Don't send them out.
That's
Oh,
good
just
stuff
go
right
with
there.
your friends. Just go with your friends. I'm just going to chill here.
Yeah.
Because the more you do that, the more they're just going to go out with their friends.
so true.
And so that's your partner. That's your partner for life. That's if they want to go fishing at 3 a.m. and you don't like fishing, go fish at 3 a.m.
so if you want to kill the passion quickly,
Yes.
go do something with your spouse because they like to do it, and then just make sure that you show them you're miserable.
Right.
I'm serious. Make sure you show them that you're miserable, and then from there they will realize, you know what, I can't take you to do these things
Because you don't enjoy it.
You don't enjoy it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find somebody else that will.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like a woman or something like that. I'm,
like- or
I'm
that you
talking
can't
about
have
like,
friends. You
like
could definitely have
homies,
friends,
like
yeah.
like homies or whatever. They'll go do that more with them.
Yeah.
Everybody should have friends. Listen, we can't do life alone. But all I'm saying is, you have such a great helpmate and somebody
Yeah.
that God put in your life, the best person. And we
Yeah.
said, when you said you're my favorite travel buddy, that really meant a
Yeah.
lot to me. It's like, what if you said that your bestie was your favorite travel buddy? That
Right.
you know what I mean? I would miss out on
Yeah.
all of that. And so I'm just grateful.
Yeah. So lastly,
This is the biggest one. I think we want to drive home for you today. And this is something that I think we don't think about too much. I think it's in all of us. It just has to be pulled out. But it's honor.
honor.
It's honor. Honor in not just
It's not common in this generation anymore.
no. It's not talked about either. And I think
Honor in marriage is huge.
it's important to talk about it today. We want to talk about honor in marriage and what that looks like because when we talk about the word honor, it's so foreign. Why is that word so foreign? But it's so practical that you can insert into your life. And I want you to know you can do it today in the littlest of things.
Yeah.
Honor and with who you are with. That's the person that God has designed for you.
And honor is not earned, it's just given. So that means even if you act the fool, I'm still going to honor you. Because if I don't honor you, I can't access what's the treasure that's on the inside of you. And so honoring your spouse is through the ups, through the downs, knowing that I am honoring my husband or my wife as I'm honoring God.
It's a
As
culture.
God's child. It's a culture, yeah.
Honors that culture that you have that you should make sure you establish as non-negotiable for each other. It's to each other. But when you do that, you're cultivating a really healthy marriage.
Yeah.
There's a level of honor and respect there that there's lines that you draw and that you will never cross, and because of it, it's like protection. It's like healthy boundaries within your marriage, that I honor you. So I'll never make you feel less than.
Yeah.
I know I'll never make you feel like you are not my top priority. You are not my number one. And when you do that, you cultivate, a really healthy marriage where it's mutual. It's not just one-sided. And I think that's an emphasis I want to emphasize.
Well, what's a practical way that we honor?
There's lots of things that you can do. Number one,
I mean, in us,
yeah,
like in us, in our relationship, I can think where, if we're with people, your family or even my family, I won't dishonor you
yeah,
in front of people. I mean, I won't dishonor you. I try not to, right? When we're in arguments or whatnot.
oh, it's the intentionality of it, though.
But something that's really big with me is if we're in a disagreement and there's other people around, it's huge with me that we don't sit there and argue with one another, or I dishonor you, even if I feel right. I'll wait till we get in the car and say, this is how you wronged me. This is how I feel. And so that's big to me. So if ever, and this is being real, if ever we're in public, and we have been a few times where maybe you won't know the tone of voice or your level of voice, and I would feel dishonored, and that to me, it would almost break me to the point of tears. And I don't do that often because I'm pretty strong.
Yes, you are.
But I think it's because I am very intentional in not dishonoring you in public, especially around like your family,
Yeah, that's true.
our family together. I will just shut my mouth and then wait to talk later. But so I think that's probably why it hits me hard if ever you raise your voice to me when we're out around people. And I know that when you do see that and you don't realize it, it breaks you.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know your heart is tender with that and you're very intentional about making sure that you honor that. But I think men could forget that the way you talk about to your wife, the tone of voice will either honor her or dishonor, especially in public.
Yeah. I have found myself being very careful with the words that come out of my mouth when it comes to you. So I'm literally watching my words, because it's so easy for you to say something that could dishonor the person that you love the most.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in heated arguments
Yes.
or moments where you are just upset. And
Yeah.
that's really the opportunities of testing where you can come out of character.
Yeah.
If I'm an honorable person, doesn't matter what you do.
Yes.
It's not going to get me out of my character.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to honor you even when you're not being honorable.
Right. And there's times that I'm not being honorable.
No.
I agree.
Let's be honest. With our marriage, I'm more of the visual guy. She's more of the emotional side of it. So she can be in her feelings sometimes, and also you're very good with your words. So because of it, it can easily hurt me. But in those moments, just because you are feeling a certain way doesn't mean it dishonor you.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't want to even paint the picture that you're doing that all the time. I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at 21 years. Okay?
Yeah.
And what we've been through,
Right.
and how I had been affected before,
Right.
and so how we've grown to who we are now. I noticed that how your growth and who you are as a woman has changed significantly in the kingdom. But we're talking about not just the good parts of our marriage, but also the challenges and where we've grown.
Yeah.
I can say that it has helped me to be a better person, because now I am intentional with that. I know who you are. I honor it. And so no matter what, I want to stay in that character, who I am, as somebody that I want to be.
And I appreciate that, because I've like you said, it's been 21 years, and the way I express myself is my words, or I'll say words that can really cut.
Yeah.
And it's not like, not even, horrible, like, oh, I'm cussing at you and cussing you out. Not even those types. It's being so real as to this is what you're not, this is where the mark you're missing, but it's so raw that it can cut. And so I've learned, and I did that a lot early on in our marriage, but I learned a lot that my words can make or break you.
Absolutely.
Like, you honor me, you love me, and the one person that can make or break you would be me. And so I had to learn, if that's the case, I've got to be mindful, and I've got to watch that when I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking life. And even if I'm frustrated, or even if we're going through things, how do I package this to where it doesn't cut him, it helps him? And so I think it's, because you're less vocal on that, right? You're less vocal when it comes to calling my mistakes out. So it's something that us women, especially ones that are really good with expressing emotions. When we're too good with it, we kind of don't remember that it can actually be harmful. So with our words, we need to be honorable. But yeah,
Words,
honor.
words can either be a instrument,
Yeah.
or it can be a weapon.
Yeah.
And so you choose on which one
you
you
gonna
want it
use
to
it?
be. I choose to speak life.
Yeah.
I choose to use it in a way where it builds you up, and it speaks to your, your potential and your purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that's where have learned to be more successful in this thing.
Yeah.
But I want to, suggest that to all of you. Be intentional with the words that you speak.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't always have to speak what you feel. Speak what you want to see, and what you believe, what God is speaking for that person, and especially your spouse. I think you can frame your tomorrow by what you speak today.
Yep.
And so,
Speak words of life and honor. And other practical things is, before we close this, is open the door for her. Show her that matters to you. Open the door before she gets in the car. Make him his favorite meal when he's been at work all day. He's been tired, get his clothes ready. There's other things practically that you can do for your husband or wife.
Yeah.
What can men do for women? You open the door for me.
yeah,
8 out of 10 times, 7 out of 10 times.
I do.
We teach our son to open doors for ladies. He doesn't always get it right, but that's what we try to teach over and over, to open the doors for his mom and sisters.
Something that was recently practical to me that I wanted to intentionally do is, when my wife and I, we don't travel too much, but when we do, when we're on an airplane, one thing that I want her to know that's important to me is that she goes first,
So when the oxygen mask comes.
So when the oxygen mask, I'm like, I'm gonna die, but here's your mask. No, I'm kidding.
Just kidding.
What I mean is, like, we're getting
When
on.
you said airplane, where you going?
Have you ever been frustrated when the
Yes.
plane is doing the taxi to to its spot, and everybody gets up as if they're getting off the plane,
Right.
And I'm like, dude, sit down. It's not time to get up, right? Okay. So I've noticed that people are a little bit
Pushy.
rude and pushy. And even from the back, they'll try to cut you to get to the front. Well, I don't want my wife to be stressed about that. So what I'll do is I'll put myself in the aisle, and I'll tell my
You
wife,
almost got in a fight last week.
no, you go ahead. You go ahead. And I wanted her to know I did that not because I'm being like, I want to fight with this person. No. That's
I
because
felt
I honor
protected.
her. I want to
Well,
honor
somebody was pushing to get, and so he stood up and said, "Bro, my wife has to walk through." So I just felt like, okay, it's so small, but it's like, that's my man. He has me, So those type of things, you honor your spouse. And so we're gonna wrap this up because it's overtime, but I hope that helped. That's just really the small things that you can start focusing on to make sure that your marriage is spicy, strong, healthy. Oh, and I forgot to say this: text each other throughout the day. I mean, sweet nothings. And I'm talking about
or dirty somethings. I'm just kidding.
He is not kidding. He is not kidding, because we do that. And it keeps you anticipating to see when I'm telling you, we do that.
There's a reason why there's emojis there for a reason, guys.
There
Okay, I'm just saying.
Send each other texts, at least 5 a day, of sweet nothings, and make sure that you tell each other you love each other. My mom always gave me this advice. She said to always kiss one another every day. My dad's going to watch this and be like, she didn't kiss me every day. I guarantee he's going to text me and say that. But she actually gave me that advice. Hold hands with one another. Do you remember when Mom said that? Hold hands.
Like this, guys.
Interlock. But she said hold hands and always kiss each other at least once a day. And so that's it, guys. We hope that you would take this and you would go and have a strong, passionate, spicy marriage, healthy marriage, and that your marriages would thrive. We thank you so much for joining in and watching on our podcast. We would hope that you would like, share it, and just share it with your friends and family. And if you have any topics that you want to talk about, let us know. We'd love to hear what you guys want to hear about.
God's in the details. We want you to know that strong marriages are intentional. We love you. Can't wait to be in the next podcast with you in our next episode. See you soon.